A reminder that the Cleveland Charge, we talked about the game last night. If you went, you were in for a doozy. They were down 13 at half. Ended up winning by double digits. They swept Toronto 905, who was the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. The Charge currently tied for the second best record in the entire East.
By the way, word on the street is there's a fair weather fan of the Charge who left the game at halftime.
That would be me.
Yeah.
That would be me. I left the game at half. They were losing. Yeah. My plus-minus yesterday was minus 13.
Yeah, you're bad luck, apparently.
Digits, so my bad, but the Charge won. They have games coming up. They're basically home the entire month of March, so come out, support the Charge, Cleveland Hall, public hall, clevelandcharge.com for tickets. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about loyalty in sports. The Cavs acquired James Harden over the trade deadline, and Harden, who is a top 75 player in the history of the league, top 10 in points, number 11 in assists, but he's been on 6 different teams now. He's the epitome of a sports nomad, and I had a chance to ask James after his first game in Cleveland about the kind of changing of the trend and changing of the landscape of players of his caliber switching teams as often as they have. He gave a great answer. Then I want to dive in and talk about how loyalty in sports either exists or doesn't exist, not just in the NBA, but across all factions of sports. This is James Harden after their win on Wednesday over Washington.
I mean, at the end of the day, we all look at it. I mean, it's basketball, and the whole quote-unquote loyalty thing is, I think it's overrated. You know, I think this is a business at the end of the day, and it's a lot of money involved and a lot of decisions that has to be made. You know what I mean? So, you know, like if a player isn't producing, or if you don't see him in the future, or, you know, front office, some of them have to do like a job and want to keep their job, you know, so they got to feel like they got to do what's best for, you know, to keep their job, and they trade players. Or if a guy isn't happy and he wants to be traded to somewhere else, then it's a problem. It's just so many different dynamics that go into it. This is a business at the end of the day. So, like, you know, not even just the NBA, but like people that have normal jobs have those same problems. It's just not magnified. You know what I mean? So, for me, it's always about like I don't lose focus of trying to compete for a championship, and then financially, you know, making sure that my family is taken care of. You know what I mean? Because I'm very smart, and I've sacrificed a lot. You know what I mean? Financially, like, which I don't get credit. I don't get talked about, but I'm fulfilled and I'm happy with it. You know. But like winning a championship, or at least having a chance to, and then financially getting paid for, you know, me being available and playing at the highest level for so long. So to answer your question, you know, this is a business at the end of the day. So I feel like players should, you know, ultimately do what's best for them, and front office does what's best for them and their owner and their organization. So, you know, it's two sides of a story.
So, Jason, I know you wrote an article in The Athletic on James Harden being a sports nomad and just the sports nomad culture in today's NBA. So when you heard James answer the question as he did, your response is what?
I thought it was a great answer. And I think that guys, I agree with them that there's no such thing as loyalty, nor should there be. Like, these teams can trade you on a dime unless you negotiate a no-trade clause. And players, I think, should be able to go where they want to go when their contract is up. So some of the biggest names, when I was digging in on some of the biggest names in the game, when you count up their all-star games and their teams, it's unbelievable. James Harden, Kevin Durant, Jimmy Butler, Kyrie, AD, Russ Westbrook, and Chris Paul, some of the biggest stars in the game, right? They've played on 38 teams total.
You're counting all-star games?
No, just all-stars. All-star players.
Yeah.
All-star players.
Yeah.
Now, they had 72 all-star appearances.
Right, yeah.
And they've played on 38 teams.
This is way more common now,
and
also way more common in the NBA than the other sports.
Yeah.
Guys don't in football and baseball. The superstars don't change teams as often. They change teams.
Yeah.
But like the superstar in the NFL or the baseball, usually it's more like 2, maybe 3 teams max until they're done. But superstars now, we're seeing them change every year, especially the older superstars.
And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Number one, guys now, rather than get to free agency, they've made it through the CBA, they've made it so appealing to guys to sign with their current team that they'll take the money now and then they'll force their way out a year later.
Right.
We've seen that. Kevin Durant signed in Brooklyn and then was out a year later. Blake Griffin signed with the Clippers and he was traded a year later. So that's become more and more common of guys take the money up front, the Griffin thing was the team's decision to move him. And that plays into another part of this is teams are more willing to move on from stars now than they've ever been before.
Right.
It used to be if you had one of these guys, you clung to them and did everything you could to build around them. And now you see them. I mean, the Hawks just gave away Trae Young a few weeks ago to get off the money, and the aprons play into that. And trying to keep financial flexibility. Flexibility and optionality are like the buzzwords in the NBA.
But I think the Hawks also realized he wasn't going to be
if he was living up to the contract in their eyes, then they would have kept him. So production obviously plays into it. But just this idea, this mindset shift that teams are not as tied to their own stars as they once were, that certainly plays a role. I think these guys coming up through AAU and team hopping, they're just accustomed to it. And AAU gets blamed for a lot. I think AAU is gross.
Yeah.
And I think it's an easy crutch. So I think it goes way deeper than that. But I do think it's worth mentioning that these guys are now the guys that came up playing these AAU circuits where you just went to this team and then that team and then that team and that. So that's just normal for them.
Right.
And not just AAU, high school. I mean,
yeah,
you see
you're
guys
right.
play
High
at
school.
3 or 4 different high school teams throughout
Yes.
the course of their career. AJ DeBonsa, who might be the number 1 pick. Darren Peterson, also a kid from Ohio, played his last 2 years of high school, at least his last year, out at Pacific Prep out in California because it's a de facto college program.
And now colleges.
Exposure.
How many colleges did Jalen Tyson go to?
Right. Well, the point is, you're right. I mean, there is no loyalty in sports, nor should there be. I think we should be loyal to our friends and to our family, and nobody else's old loyalty. Like, in your job, in our job, are we loyal to the people? If we have an employer, on some level, while I'm working for that employer, you're loyal to them on some level. But like, am I not going to take a better job because I'm loyal to another company? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
You're loyal to the paycheck.
That's right.
It's a business, man.
Yeah.
And
both sides.
Yeah, both sides. But the illusion is how sports became what it is there's an illusion of togetherness and familyness and loyalty. They perpetuate that, right?
Yeah.
And they perpetuate it as long as it's convenient for both sides. I look at a situation with Giannis. Like, I can't get mad at the Bucks. Like, I think the Milwaukee Bucks did everything in their power to help him try to win a championship. Just turns out that people were better than he was, or
he did win a championship.
He did. So it's like, so once you win a championship, his goal is to win as many championships as he can during his time frame.
Yeah.
And he recognizes that I'm a generational player. They recognize he's a generational player, right? But at any point in time, one side believes that they're no longer a generational player, the charade is up.
Yeah.
Because now we got to tear it down. We got to figure out something from the business standpoint because we're paying you this money. We can't fit guys around you. And then at one point, it's only so much they're going to put new guys around you, and the Damian Lillards, you know what I'm saying, and then that didn't work, and then you go out and go get somebody else, and that didn't work, and then now you're injured, so now they're gonna have to tear it down. But from the player standpoint, I think a lot of people don't realize that James Harden did give a lot back. A lot of people kind of roll their eyes when they said I didn't give him a lot, but he's been in a few situations where, especially in Philadelphia, they told him he was gonna do something.
He took a $15 million pay cut.
Yeah.
In Philly.
Now listen. He has more than enough money. Like,
sure.
but
he still did.
Players, a lot of players will take every last dime they can get.
Absolutely.
Right. Nobody should feel sorry for James Harden.
No, he said.
But
that.
like, we laud Jose Ramirez, right? He's taking way less money. There's some people. I bet you there's some people in baseball like he's an idiot.
I tell him all the time.
Which is stupid. I think like Jose Ramirez is comfortable here. He's happy here, so he stays here. That's all that matters to him, but that's unusual.
The players' unions put a lot of pressure on these guys to take every last dollar because
which is bad.
Well, but they're looking out for themselves.
It's bad It's bad because most guys don't do it, so don't pressure the guys that don't want it, that want to do it.
Well, part of the reason why they don't do it is because they're getting pressure from the union to take every last dollar to pave the way for the guys coming up behind you.
Right.
Why are you giving them why do you care about, like we say all the time, what do you care about the owner's money for? Why do you care?
They got it.
He's got plenty to give you, so don't give him a break. Because are they really going to reinvest it in the team if you...
Right. And the Guardians have not.
And then the Players Association is telling them, listen, don't let your skill slip. Don't be hurt 15, 20 games this year. Well, they're going to come to you and you can get traded.
Well, but I mean, there's a big difference. I mean, in baseball and basketball, your contract's guaranteed.
Yes.
So they could trade you, but you're still getting paid.
Yeah.
Whereas in football, that's a whole new thing. That's a whole different
now
thing.
we ain't listen. You the syndicate,
Except for Deshaun Watson,
Right,
everybody,
and that's why they got a problem with that. You see how that works. But listen, I'll tell you this, man.
Yeah.
You go back and you look at it. I think the whole game was different when Luka Doncic got traded. That was he was the first dude who was in his prime, undeniable. The equivalent of him getting traded in Dallas is the equivalent of Kobe or LeBron getting traded in their primes.
But
that never.
But Wilt Chamberlain got traded.
But
and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar got traded.
But I'm saying, but he was in
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was in his prime.
Well,
Luka was the face of Dallas, though.
The whole.
Are you serious? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the best player in the NBA.
He left as a free agent.
He rolled out.
Kareem?
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought he got traded.
He was in Milwaukee.
I'm double checking, but I'm almost. I wrote.
Kareem, he would play for the Bucks. They was like, I'm going.
What about Wilt? Where was he?
Oh,
in his
maybe you're
career?
right. Maybe he was traded.
I think Kareem was traded.
Yeah, you're right. I apologize. I thought he left as a free agent.
I'd like to be known as Mr. NBA for now. Like, really?
And I wrote. Never mind. I wrote a lot of stuff.
Are you really? Did Mike just try to sell me that Luka Doncic was bigger than Kareem was in the
No, Kareem was big.
Dude, Kareem was the best player in the sport at the time.
Yes,
I
he
thought he
was.
left as a free agent too. I'm not.
No,
sure.
I know more. I'm a more of a ball knower than you guys are.
Now that's crazy.
Old
that
school
Paul,
basketball. Don't be
can't-
questioning me.
He
old school
wanted
basketball.
out.
He
He
was
wanted out of
leaving anyway.
Milwaukee. He
Yeah.
wanted out of Milwaukee. I don't remember, even though I should remember. I don't remember all the details around it, but he definitely wanted out of Milwaukee. I know that.
Every
I don't blame him.
Listen, watch this. So this is the historian. Every free agent, great big man, is going to go play for the Lakers. It just is what it is.
I mean, Shaq wanted out of Orlando.
And he went there. Wilt wanted out and then went there. And Kareem wanted out, went there. Hey, they even had Pau Gasol. They got him as well. They stay with getting LeBron went there.
Bill Russell never went there.
He never did. But players have always liked shiny things, and that's been since the beginning of time. They was already going to go play for LA, trying to do certain things.
Yeah.
But to me, when Luka got traded, there was really no crazy. They had just went to the finals.
Yeah. I don't think Luka started this. I think it started long before that.
It did, but it told you anybody can get it. Anybody.
Yeah.
Like Luka was like caught off guard. Like
but they
what the
were.
heck?
But Dallas was panned by everybody. It's one of the stupidest trades ever made.
I still to this
they
day.
essentially got nothing for him.
Nothing.
I mean, yeah. When you look at what AD brought them back.
They should have not been allowed.
Listen, shout out to the brother.
Yeah.
But he can't get no more jobs. He can't get.
He
won't. He can't. He can't. Listen, I know there's Rooney rules, bro. I'm sorry, bro. It ain't even Rooney rules in basketball. You just can't get no jobs, bro.
Yeah.
You actually traded Luka and got zero, stingy with nothing.
Nothing.
I want to point out players on all three Cleveland teams right now. Just the difference in all of this, and I don't think there's a right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
You have Jose, who's a guardian for life, has taken less money on multiple occasions now, signed multiple extensions under his market value to stay here. Got close, got to a Game 7 in the World Series, may or may not ever win a championship.
Jose basically did the Wolf of Wall Street scene of, I'm not leaving.
Yeah, right.
Like, figure it out.
Yeah, right.
I'm not effing leaving. That's basically what he did.
Well, Giannis
Yes.
posted that exact meme after
but he
traded
is
at the
leaving.
deadline, but he's
Yeah.
He just waiting till
He's
the
just
summer.
waiting.
Yeah.
Then you got Myles Garrett, who's been a Brown his whole life, has requested a trade, then got the giant extension. We'll see if he finishes his career in Cleveland, but hasn't had the chance at a Super Bowl run yet.
Right.
But he's been would you call Myles Garrett loyal?
No. But I don't say that as a bad thing.
No.
But
I don't mean it as a good or bad.
No,
thing.
he wanted to be traded.
G, would you agree with that?
Man, I think he's a person who's pragmatic.
You don't think Myles Garrett wants to be traded right now? Of course he does, but he knows it's not going to happen.
Yeah, if this was a different world with different cap rules and different everything else, I think he would welcome it. I think he's loyal to himself, and I don't
call him loyal?
I don't blame him for that.
I'm not
You
saying
can't
it's good or
compare
bad.
him to Jose Ramirez. Chose to
took
stay.
less money.
Yeah. There's
I'm
no
making
comparison.
a bigger point here. I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
And then you have James Harden, who we just heard.
And here's the thing. I believe you can't take and it's the context of the sport, there should be no loyal person playing football. Not zero. There should never be a loyal person.
I'm not criticizing anybody for being.
No, if you're a football player,
You make as much money as you can.
You can't. Nick Chubb, I'll give you an example. We all love Nick Chubb. The second he had that second knee injury, it was a wrap. It was bye. It was gone.
I'm not asking this as a negative. I'm just
You are. You're asking it as a negative.
And then we have James
You're
Harden.
You're asking it as a negative.
I am not.
You set up game.
But then we have James Harden just gave us the answer of, I need to be in a situation where it makes sense.
There's no owed loyalty. Jose Ramirez has been loyal to the Guardians. I look at that as a positive, but if you're not loyal, I look at that as a neutral, not a negative.
But Jose also is being loyal to himself.
Fact.
Right,
He's
he's
comfortable.
comfortable.
Because he wants. It's not that he loves Paul Dolan. And
No, he
loves
doesn't care
Chris
about the owner.
Antonetti. He loves where he's at right now.
He's as my people would say, a big macher.
I don't know what that means.
You're a fake.
I'm one of your people, but
You're a
I
fake
don't know.
Jew there.
Hey, I don't know
Mike.
what that means. I'm gonna just
He's the big swinging. You know what? Here,
Oh, yeah.
He's like the clubhouse. Everybody loves him.
He's very.
He doesn't get pressured by the media to speak.
That is,
and he is the king.
Yes.
As he should be.
And he's really smart for not wanting to give that up because
Right.
other guys have been in that spot. And
Yeah.
they gave it up for more money,
You don't want to go.
and they were miserable.
LeBron went to L.A. He's not a big deal in L.A. Even
man,
LeBron is not a big deal in
You know
L.A.
what I found out? I went. It's like that in every business. I went upstairs to seen Jay Crawford. He had fans, grapes, and everything up there. He's the man at WKYC. He was walking. He had 3 outfits. They were like, Jay, do you need to change your button up today?
I know.
I'm
It's
like, this,
unbelievable up
I
there.
said, I need to get some. He's like, sir, who are you? Don't you keep coming up here?
he has a person combing each side of his hair. He has one person for the left side, one for the right.
The stenographer is
His
like,
makeup person.
Let's get this
My
together.
point with bringing up the players in each sport is there's no guaranteed way to get to the level you want to get. There's no right or wrong path in terms of being loyal versus not in regards to winning a championship. We've seen non-loyal mercenaries win a bunch of championships. We've seen the most loyal people in the world. Joe Thomas, for example, never really have a chance to even sniff a championship. So there's no one way fits all or one right way.
Joe Thomas was loyal.
I think
and it didn't help.
I think being a Cavs fan, it really just being a Cavs fan overall because of who the owner is, because of LeBron, because of Kyrie, because of like the championship we won. We was mercenaries at one point in time. We was just like, hey, LeBron coming back. We got Kevin Love, Deion Waiters, kick rocks. We gonna sign Kyrie. Let's work. And they went and got Shumpert and JR, and they got training.
But
so we was cool
their
with it.
two best players had been originally. Kyrie was already here, and LeBron was originally.
They both left.
Then they both left.
After they said they wasn't going to again. So we kind of was like, now the soul of a Cavs fan, I think we can applaud you for playing well. You can't really break our hearts.
There's almost no loyalty in sports, and no loyalty is owed. None. Loyalty is owed.
But James Harden, if you want to go ahead and win a championship,
go ahead, win a championship, and then ride off to the sunset. That's fine.
And you will be immortalized in Cleveland.
It's
forever.
all good. I don't care if the Cavs win a championship. I don't care if James Harden only plays here for half the season.
Bro, he could never do an interview, nothing. Bro, you good, bro. We'll put the number in the rafters if you want to, bro. Now that's a step too far. But all depends on how many big shots you gonna hit.
Yeah.
We gonna figure that out. Now hold on though. I'm just saying though, if the Cavs win a championship, that means that Donovan Mitchell would have won a championship.
Right.
How high on the totem pole you got to put that? Because that means he did it. He's the first non-LeBron to even get that off. Is he automatically top? Is he on the Mount Rushmore?
Of course. He's on the Mount Rushmore of
Cleveland?
Yeah.
Of Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland or Cavs?
Cleveland.
No, Cleveland? No. Get no chance.
No. Cleveland?
He'd be, to me, he's third on the Cavs.
How is he third?
I'm putting him behind Kyrie.
But I'm just saying, who else on your Mount Rushmore than won a championship?
Jim
Brown, LeBron.
That's only two got the
two.
championships. Who else?
But that you can't judge. I can't do it just based on that.
Why, you're not going to take the championship? Ain't nobody else
You
won
can't,
one.
in baseball, I can't. Jose Ramirez has got to be on the Mount Rushmore.
What do you got? 3. You got one more.
Could Donovan be 4?
Look.
Maybe I called you crazy too soon.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Got you ready to go.
I would put Kyrie ahead of him.
I don't know that I would.
He can't.
Donovan wins the
I don't think
championship.
you could put Kyrie ahead of him if Donovan.
He drove the ship.
Why?
He's the captain.
Kyrie hit the biggest shot in franchise history.
I'm putting
There's
Kyrie
no
ahead of
question
him.
about that. But he also won't ever come back.
You're not putting Myles Garrett ahead of him?
No, he doesn't have a championship.
But neither does Jose.
But Jose is when I say all time. Now listen, listen, that's a tough decision. But what I'm saying to you is this: it's a conversation.
But Donovan Mitchell, it's not a fair comparison because the great basketball player has more influence on winning a championship than anything except for maybe a quarterback.
And he did it in an era with great team. He did it in an era where
You think Donovan Mitchell's going to win a championship with the Cavs?
I think he got a shot.
He's got a shot, but I don't think he will. Jason?
He got a shot.
He's got a shot.
He got a shot.
You think he will?
He's got a shot.
He got a shot.
All right, Jason's scared to
Look
answer.
at Jason Lloyd. That's what he.
got a
Listen,
shot.
Mike,
look.
if Donovan
Take a
Mitchell wins
picture of
a
this.
championship
Take
with
a
the
picture.
Cavs.
Can I get the fist bump? Put it in your locker. See this? We're together as one.
Come on, don't be.
But listen, because it was only on Jason G, there's no confirmation that was your.
See, it's
What'd he say? I
plausible.
didn't hear him.
You got to do it again. You got to do it
It's
again.
plausible deniability. Look at that. We are together. This is the fusion dance. Can you imagine us
Mike,
as a
give your
Dragon Ball
answer.
Z
There are
character?
people in the chat losing their minds right now.
About what?
G and Jason being boys.
We together, bro. We got a. We said the exact same thing. He got a shot.
I love G. We
listen.
disagree on the quarterback, but I
Will
love
he win a
G.
But other than that,
What's
we're
that?
great.
Is the question?
You
will
still haven't
Donovan-
answered the question. Will
Will he win a championship? Is
Yeah.
that the question?
Yeah.
He could. I probably lean more no than yes,
Yeah.
but he could. Yeah.
Why are
Hey.
you being scared to answer this question, Jason?
I'm not scared to answer it.
Hey, listen.
So your answer is no.
I don't think they're going to win it this year. No, I think OKC.
If they
they're healthy,
don't win it by next year, it's over with this group.
Bro, but hold on.
I mean,
Yeah.
Me and Jason have already come to the conclusion this is a 2-year run.
2-year run.
This is a 2-year project.
Right?
Read between the lines.
Jason said LeBron's coming back.
whoa.
That's two setups you
He
had.
did not say
you
that. I'm
tried to get
kidding.
McNuggets on
Yeah.
the Myles Garrett, and you got him on LeBron. You know they friends. Don't do that to
I
him.
think they are on a short list of teams that has
Yeah.
a legitimate chance to win a championship. And beyond that, you
All
never
right,
know
right
who's
now-
going to be healthy. You never know what the matchups are going to be. It's
Right
impossible
now,
to say.
give me your Cleveland sports Mount Rushmore.
I mean, Jim Brown, LeBron.
Yeah.
It's hard after that.
That's tough.
Donovan's not up there right now.
No.
Joe Thomas up there.
It's tough.
I don't know you can put Joe up there. Like, I want to put Jim Tomey up there. He's in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, and then there's a lot of
500
old
home
school
runs.
guys. It's Groza, it's Bob
Yeah,
Feller.
Bob Feller.
It's a lot of
Larry Doby.
How do you not have Bob Feller up there?
How you not like? That's why they got it. That to even get on the list, you got to at least have a championship.
It's hard for us because he's before our era.
Yeah, I know, but he was throwing 100.
Yeah.
Or maybe not 100, but,
But-
he's
But
pretty
Jim
good.
Brown was before our era.
I
too,
mean,
so.
but it's just. I mean, it's Jim Brown, bro.
All right, so obviously Jim Brown and LeBron. Those are the two.
Those are the two. But
easy ones.
so we have a
So who
sliding
are the-
schedule.
let's give the candidates for the other two spots. Joe Thomas.
Yes.
Jose Ramirez.
Yes.
Miles
Garrett.
Myles Garrett.
Yes.
Is Nick Chubb a candidate?
No.
As of right now, Kyrie is. I do think Kyrie.
Kyrie's a candidate.
Okay. Dang, that's tough.
Bob Feller, Jim
Bob
Tomey.
Feller, Jim
Luke
Tomey,
Groza.
Luke Rosa. Is Bernie a candidate?
I
No?
don't think so.
He falls
You
short.
can throw. Some people will say Paul Warfield. Some people can throw Marion Motley in the
mean,
mix. But them is you talking about black and
Jesse
white
Owens?
days. Jesse, that's kind of crazy.
How do you not have Jesse Owens
How you
up
not
there?
have Jesse Owens up there? That's
Well,
wild.
he wasn't
work.
a team sport athlete.
It doesn't matter.
but-
I mean, he went to
He's a
Berlin.
Cleveland athlete.
He
Yeah,
went.
Jesse Owens a lock.
Hey, he's
Then Jesse Owens then he's a lock too if we're including individual athletes.
Anytime you go to
And
Berlin,
then you got to put Stipe Miocic as in the list if we're doing individual.
you pull up in the,
Guy was champion.
You pull up in the Eastern European country in the 40s, and you black. You
I say
automatically got to put on.
just team sports. Let's just do team
Okay,
sports.
all right,
Just team sports.
all right. Yeah. I actually
So for our other two spots, we have the candidates from the Guardians. We have Bob Feller, Jim Tomey, Jose Ramirez. Anybody else from baseball we want to put in there?
you ain't like Larry
I mean,
Doby?
I was going to say, there's a lot of Hall of Famers from the
Yeah. But let's go with those three for baseball.
I mean, Earl Averill, Larry Dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, but we'll take those three guys.
All right.
For football, we're gonna have Myles Garrett and Joe Thomas. as possibilities.
Are you going to just say this is a current list? You're going to do a current list?
I mean, you want to?
I'm going to go do current. I don't want to include the
Well,
old
no,
people.
because we got Jim Brown in there.
Well, he's the most recognizable football player ever. So
and then for basketball, say Kyrie Irving. I mean, is there anybody else that we consider?
I mean, you can consider Donovan, but he's
All
not
right.
there yet.
He ain't
So
there.
between Kyrie,
Well, I'm thinking
No, I think
70s,
it's just
80s
those two.
Cavs. There's really
You can't
no,
compare.
no, they were really,
Now-
Darty, Nance, Price, like those guys were really good
Now-
players.
They're
But
not.
Anthony Bennett.
Stop you.
all right,
Now,
so
if I will say,
Yeah.
if Donovan re-ups again, he's adding a lot of. I mean, he didn't say. I think half the reason we don't say Donovan because first of all, you wasn't drafted here.
Yeah.
You get a bonus and bump if you
Yeah.
drafted. Second of all, you haven't been here that many years, right?
Yeah.
So if he don't win a championship, it's going to be hard for him to get on the list.
Yeah.
But if he does sign up again and he plays the longevity role, which I don't think he will do, because
Yeah.
I think he wants to win today and urgently. But if he stays here after a certain period of
Then maybe.
time, then maybe, right?
if he's got to play here longer and or win a championship.
Yes.
If one of those things doesn't happen, he will not get on there.
No.
To me, the last two spots, if I have to pick right now, would go to Myles Garrett and Jose Ramirez.
I would be fine with that.
there's
list.
a lot of recency bias in that.
There is recency
it's
bias.
like it's like a whole
that
hour
is true.
ago.
But ultimately, I decided I'm not taking. And Kyrie's a strong candidate. He would be my next guy for basketball ahead of Donovan. I took Myles Garrett ahead of Joe Thomas, but that's really a toss-up. And then for baseball, even though Bob Feller's a Hall of Famer and Tomey's a Hall of Famer, and Bob Feller did play his whole career in Cleveland, Tomey didn't, so that lowers him a little
I
bit.
mean, Lou Boudreaux won a championship.
Yeah, but
And-
I don't know. Like in
but-
baseball, one player
but-
has nothing to do with a champ.
I
Can't control that.
But I think I heard somebody rattle this off. Isn't Jose going? If he continues to play well, won't he have every single record?
pretty much.
Stolen base, hits?
Pretty much. He'll be number one in almost every statistical
How could you
category.
not put him on there?
I think Jose's got to be on there, and he's going to play his whole career here.
He has to be
I
on
mean,
there.
baseball players, even on big market teams, almost never play their whole career in one spot.
Yeah.
Like Derek Jeter and Mariano Rivera are
Can you,
the
imagine trying,
exceptions.
can you imagine trying to do a Yankees Mount Rushmore?
Oh, no. You
It's
can't.
impossible.
It's impossible.
I don't think it's impossible at all.
I think it's super impossible.
It's easy.
How is it easy?
It's Ruth, Gehrig, Mantle, and DiMaggio. That's it. Who else is in there?
Jeter, Mariano.
Are you
I mean,
serious?
they've had a lot of.
Jeter's
I'm just naming.
Okay,
two
but
guys
wait
that
a minute.
you can
How are
always
you
make a case for.
discounting all of the Indians players from that era, but you automatically
them
put all
ones.
the Yankees players of that era?
I'm
God,
not
his ass.
I'm not discounting
We'll
them.
Put him in a pretzel. Holy crap!
Didn't put me in a pretzel at all.
Drop the
I'm not
people's hammer.
discounting any of them, Jason. But in my opinion, Jose Ramirez is the greatest Indian/Guardian of all time.
Who is Mr. Yankee?
Derek Jeter.
No, I mean
That's-
now more.
But-
Derek Jeter.
No one says Babe Ruth.
Is nowhere in the discussion.
Derek
Is
Jeter's
nowhere close to any of those four players.
Jeter-
Overrated
Jeter's-
as a player.
Jeter is a little bit overrated.
He is. But in terms of
Jeter is not overrated. He's overrated to people that don't like the Yankees. Now, I don't like the Yankees, but I understand.
But-
he was the leader of that great team, and he deserves credit.
how many championships he win?
They won 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Yankee lore, I believe Derek Jeter to some people
It
will put
doesn't
him.
matter.
No, Jeter has 4 titles.
There is zero.
Jeter has 5
Four. Sorry. There's
5.
no argument that Derek Jeter is better than any of the 4 guys I
So who
mentioned.
you got?
It's Ruth, Gehrig, Mantle, and DiMaggio. It's not even close.
How do you not have Mariano on there?
Because it's a closer, Mike.
best closer in
You're
the
talking
history
about
of
4,
baseball.
Mike. You're talking about 4 of the greatest baseball players in the history of the
I
sport.
get that Mariano is the greatest closer who
He's
ever
a
lived.
closer. These guys played every day.
In the 30s and 20s and 10s where they were eating hot dogs and smoking
You're out of
joints
your
in the
mind.
locker room.
You're out of your mind.
Well, it's amusing to me that
No.
like you discount all of the old guys
I-
because anything before black players are allowed to play, it doesn't count.
you keep-
Except for the Yankees.
We're going to take all
saying
them.
Gee,
that
by
I'm
the way,
discounting
Jeter's
them.
got 5.
I'm not. I'm just.
Jeter got how
I'm
many?
counting Jose
5 World
Ramirez
Series.
more.
Hold on. Jeter got 5 rings, bro. You can't even do that, bro. He got 5 rings.
Oh,
World
he
Series.
won that other one. Yeah, later in his
5.
career.
You
Man.
said 3. You were off by 2.
5.
All right, I was
Does
off.
he have more than
Whatever.
all
I
of those
got. I
guys?
got to remember all his rings.
You're
Well,
from
if
New
you wanna
York.
Discount him. Don't discount him properly.
You are the New York historian.
Listen,
Did I tell you
Jason,
guys?
this is an unfair comparison. You didn't ask me. If you asked me for the Indians/Guardians, Mount Rushmore, then Bob Feller would be on it.
No. My point is,
But you compared it to the Yankees.
No. You always say you discount the old timers.
I do. Yes, you're right.
Because the black players were not allowed to play with them.
You're right.
You do.
So now the first thing is the Yankees. You've just thrown out all of the modern guys, and you're sticking with all the older generation.
Well,
guys.
yeah. Well, Mantle played in the
Okay, so
not Gehrig.
So
No, not Gary.
So here's what the Yankees are doing, because I checked it out, and like you go along with the consensus. Most say Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Romano. However, you leave it to Yankees Reddit. Yankees Reddit said we need to have 2 Mount Rushmores. They got the second Mount Rushmore is Yogi, Jeter, Rivera, and Whitey.
Yogi, Jeter, Rivera, and Whitey. Yeah, I'm okay with that. But Whitey and Yogi played back in the day too. They played the same time as Mantle.
I mean, you're right. So I mean, that means there's a super bias for the Yankees, and that means y'all was cheating back then too. How you got every
y'all? I hate the Yankees.
Y'all was how you got every player, all of them.
It's unbelievable.
If I had to do just an Indians/Guardians Mount Rushmore, it would be Jose, Bob Feller, Tomey.
You got to put Larry Doby in there.
And then who's the fourth guy?
Yeah.
You have to put Larry Doby.
You have to.
I guess Larry Doby.
You have to.
Yeah, it's just it has to be. Like I don't. You got to listen. The only person who's getting him out of here is you can still have to put him in here. Still have to put him in there.
And then what's the second Mount Rushmore for the Guardians would be, now from those 90s teams.
Mount Rushless.
Yeah.
Do you want to put between, I would put Lofton ahead of Vizquel.
Oh, for sure.
I would put Lofton ahead of Manny.
I don't know. That's a hard one.
I think Lofton.
I don't hold steroids against Manny as much as everybody else does.
To me, Lofton is the most underrated player of that group.
I agree, but I think Manny was
Manny was great.
One of the best pure hitters I've
but
ever
Lofton
seen.
played more years here than Manny.
Yes.
To be
Does CeCe get in the mix?
To me, Albert Bell changed the soul of the Indians. Like he was like.
I don't think he was here long enough.
But when Albert was cooking, like when you heard
Lajoie.
I thought you said Napoli. I thought you was gonna say Mike Napoli. You gonna put him in there? All right.
I got the chance to hang out with Napoli at a charity softball game once. That was real fun.
Yeah.
It was cool.
The best hitters of all time, we should go with the Mount Rushmore steroids.
Mount Rushmore. McGuire, Sosa, Bonds.
A-Rod.
Just hitters?
Paul Merrill.
A-Rod.
A-Rod.
Above Palmeiro and Manny.
But you got to put Canseco on there because he blew the cover on everything. I got Canseco as the poster child.
Mount Rushmore of Cavs would be Kyrie, LeBron, Mark Price, and Donovan.
Donovan's on there now.
No, I wouldn't put Price over Kevin Love.
What?
What you mean?
I would put Mark on there because
Come on, you got to put Price over Kevin Love.
I mean Kevin Love, bro. Like Kevin Love was nice.
Not here. He wasn't. He wasn't. Mark Price was a better player in Cleveland than Kevin Love was.
I saw a white dude.
Yeah.
Move his feet for 55 seconds in eternity and lock up Steph Curry.
I hear you.
I do,
but I can't put. So you're putting him in over Mark Price.
I don't know how he did that.
he doesn't know how he did that.
Bro,
He said he blacked out.
Steph Curry hit him with everything in his tool bag.
Yeah.
And he was still, no, I got you. And I said, bro, this, and then when it missed, they won. I said, this is the greatest. I've never seen this in my life.
Price or Love?
I got you, Kevin. Shout out to Kevin
initial
Love.
knee-jerk reaction is Mark, because Kevin was not allowed to display his full tool set when he was here.
He was a good player in Cleveland.
He
wasn't
filled
great.
a necessary role that did not allow him to do everything that he was capable of doing.
Would the Cavs have won a championship without Kevin Love?
I believe they could have.
No.
Now you've said for years we've argued this where you said they would have won without him.
I believe they would have. Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah, wait a minute. Yeah. No, I don't think they would.
No.